This episode of The Witch Wave is brought to you by Witch Space. I'm excited to tell you about a new online community called Witch Space. Witch Space describes themselves as TED Talks for witches. It's a place where you can join and pop in and out of live seminars taught by experts in all kinds of eclectic topics relevant to witchcraft, the occult, and psychic development. And Witch Space will be launching with a live online conference August 14th through 16th, where there will be talks, fun activities like broom-making classes, community rituals, grimoire workshops, and more. Tickets are available now. And after the online conference, Witch Space will continue on as a living space where speakers will host more educational talks, and members can host their own talks on the open mic and become qualified teachers too and get paid to teach. Witch Space is a nonprofit, and all proceeds will be reinvested back into the community or donated to nature conservation efforts. So see what it's all about by going to witchspace.app/witchwave. And don't forget to sign up for their live online conference from August 14th through 16th, 2026. witchspace.app/witchwave. The Witch Wave is brought to you by Wiser Books. Wiser Books has been publishing esoteric and occult teachings from around the world since 1957. Wiser specializes in a wide range of topics, including astrology, tarot, witchcraft, magic, Eastern thought, and Western mystery traditions. Wiser Books authors include Teresa Reed, Amy Blackthorne, Rachel Pollack, Mary Kay Greer, Lon Milo Duquette, Stephanie Rose Bird, Judica Illes, Courtney Weber, Cindy Brannon, Lilith Dorsey, and many more. And you probably recognize several of those names because they've been guests on The Witch Wave. Some of the most important titles published by Wiser include 78 Degrees of Wisdom, The Wiser Tarot, Hecate, Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, Italian Folk Magic, Existential Kink, Tarot for the Hard Work, Queering the Tarot, Entering Hecate's Garden, Heal the Witch Wound, A Tea Witch's Grimoire, Backwoods Witchcraft, Mexican Sorcery, the Marie Laveau Voodoo Grimoire, and so many more. Visit www.redwheelwiser.com to shop their full collection and use code WAVE30 at checkout to receive 30% off your order. And don't forget to sign up for their awesome newsletter to receive discounts, updates about new titles, special collections, and more. Again, that's www.redwheelwiser.com and use code WAVE30 for 30% off.
The world is filled with bewitching people, and you might be one too. Welcome to the podcast where art is magic, magic is real, and reality is stranger than dreams. I'm Pam Grossman, and this is The Witch Wave.
Hello, and welcome to the season finale of The Witch Wave. My gods, what a season it has been, and what a season finale I have for you today, because my guest for the finale of season 9 of The Witch Wave is none other than my absolute hero, comedy legend, Rachel Dratch. And there is so much I want to say about Rachel and this episode and how it all came to be. But first, let me remind you that even though I am about to go on break, as I do every year, I will absolutely still be doing bonus Witch Wave Plus episodes throughout the summer, and I will absolutely still be doing monthly online ritual circles. And so the best way to stay connected to the Witch Wave and to me throughout the summer is to join the Witch Wave Patreon over at patreon.com/witchwave. I would love to see you there. And then I will be returning for season 10. Can you believe it? Season 10, yes, which will be kicking off in mid-September. Exact date TBD, but you will know by following us over on Instagram and all the other places at Witchwave Pod. But until then, I've got some other events happening throughout the summer. You can see me in person this coming Sunday, June 28th in Hudson, New York, with friend of the pod, Melissa Oftermauer of Hole and the Smashing Pumpkins, and Melora Krieger of Rasputina, another one of my all-time favorite bands. We'll be doing an evening of performance and readings as part of New York Upstate Arts Weekend at an art show curated by The Sphinx at Basilica Hudson, which is Melissa's incredible venue in Hudson, and it's free, so do come through. And then on Saturday, July 25th, I'll be up in Lilydale, New York, giving my Magic Maker Artist as Magician talk. And this is part of Shannon Taggart's Spiritualist Symposium. The whole weekend looks incredible. It's kind of a conference. It's going to be great. It's open to the public, but you do need to get tickets. And then it looks like on Friday, August 7th, I will be doing an author event in Edinburgh, Scotland at Wheel of Fate. And so if you are in Edinburgh, please do join me there. Details on that will be announced soon. And as always, you can find out about all of my comings and goings over at pamgrossman.com/events or on Instagram at Phantasmophile or by signing up for my newsletter, which is also at pamgrossman.com. And P.S., if you are in Edinburgh for the Fringe Festival, as I will be, you can also see the new one-man show starring friend of the pod, Steve Burns of Blues Clues. And that one-man show is co-written by none other than one Mr. Matthew Freeman, my sweet, sweet sweetheart. So get tickets to Steve Burns Alive at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this August. Whew! Okay, so back to today's unbelievably exciting guest, Rachel Dratch. So I met Rachel at Studio 54 in March because she is currently starring in the Rocky Horror Show on Broadway. In fact, she got a Tony nomination for her performance as the narrator, and she's absolutely spectacular in this role. But when Rocky Horror's director, and now friend of the pod, Sam Pinkleton, invited me to do a ritual with the cast and crew of the show during their rehearsal process, I was super excited, of course, but he did let me know that not everyone involved in the production was necessarily going to be there for the ritual because, they had like costume fittings and all kinds of scheduling stuff. And so I wouldn't know beforehand who exactly was coming. Fine, no problem. So much of magic, and well, just life, is about going with the flow and trusting in stars aligning as they're meant to. And so I set the intention to just be open to whatever happened and to whomever happened to turn up on the day, and to trust that it would be as it was meant to, and to just give as much magic and love as I possibly could. But guys, if I'm being really honest, I really hoped that Rachel Dratch was going to be there. Because look, I am fully aware that I talk about SNL a lot, but it's a sacred institution for me. It was formative for me when I was growing up, and it continues to be something that I never miss. Talk about religion. I don't consider myself to be religious, but if I am religious about anything, I'm religious about SNL. I cleave to it closely. I study it. I celebrate it. I worship at its altar, and I'm just a fucking dork about it. I pay attention to who's coming and who's going and the lore and lorne of it all. And I've been watching it every week that it's been on since I was probably about 10. Not to mention being raised on the SNL Best of Gilda Radner VHS tape. Like, SNL is part of my pantheon. And Rachel Dratch is one of my all-time favorite cast members. She is a comedy goddess. She just is. She makes me laugh so hard, and she's so silly and so smart and so quick and so quirky and an absolute genius of a performer. And I will also say that one of my greatest wishes, nay, intentions for the Witch Wave was to get an SNL cast member as a guest on this show. Because not only do I love SNL, but I know that comedy is magic. Laughter is the ultimate warding spell. It is protective and healing and alchemically transforms pain and fear into delight and connection. And improv, in particular, which is Rachel's background, has a rich magical history. In Magic Maker, I write about Del Close, who was an improv pioneer and comedic guru who taught everybody from John Belushi to Gilda Radner to Stephen Colbert to Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Rachel Dratch. And Del Close was also a witch. And Rachel and I talk about that a bit in this conversation. And in the 1980s, Del also briefly held the title House Metaphysician of SNL. And he believed that improv was a means of interfacing with the uncanny, maybe even the divine. In the Improv Handbook, Truth in Comedy, by Del Close and his contemporaries Charna Halpern and Kim Howard Johnson, they write that when improv is going well, it feels supernatural, as if you're tapping into what they call the group mind. And sometimes this group mind is seemingly psychic or accesses some sort of greater consciousness. They write in their book that when the group mind is formed, quote, scenes created have turned out to be prophetic, and ESP has actually occurred on stage. Players are able to speak simultaneously at a normal rate of speed, saying the exact same thing, word for word. Some teams become oracles on stage, answering the great questions of the universe, one word at a time, leaving audiences chilled and astonished. Unquote. So, given Rachel Dratch's background in improv and the fact that she studied with Del Close, she already would have been a great Witch Wave guest as far as I'm concerned. But then, a few years ago, I learned that Rachel was starting her own podcast called Woo Woo, and that she has actually been interested in supernatural and uncanny occurrences for most of her life, and that she's experienced quite a few inexplicably magical things herself. So getting back to Studio 54 and the Rocky Ritual, I want to be clear that I was already excited to get to work with Sam, whom I admire and adore. I was already excited to bring some magic to Rocky Horror, a show that means so much to me personally, and that no matter who else showed up, Dayenu, it would have been enough. But if I'm being radically honest, I really, 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 really hoped that Rachel would be at the ritual. And my friends, at the ritual, Rachel was, which in itself was so wonderful and full circle for me and my love of SNL and her work. But if that wasn't enough, we did end up talking afterward, and one thing led to another, and she invited me to be a guest on her podcast, which I did, and that episode of Woo Woo is out now, and it was such a joy to do. And then, yes, she was gracious enough to join me here on the Witch Wave. And what can I say? Call it manifesting, call it magic. Today, I'm just calling it marvelous. And so I am over the moon to get to share our conversation with you here. But before we get to that, first, let's check and see what's come through on the Witch Wire.
Who is it?
Witches!
Hello, Pam. Hello, Witch Wavers.
My name is Nikki, and I have been practicing witchcraft for probably about 10 years now. I was raised Christian, but became a solitary Wiccan when I was in high school. Worshipped Gaia for a while and dipped my toes into other forms of neo-paganism. But eventually, in my 20s now, I've come back to Christianity. I just realized that in my heart of hearts, I still believe in the gospel and I still value my relationship with Jesus Christ. But I don't want to leave the witchy parts of me behind. What I've started taking to doing right now is blending the Wiccan and the Christian parts of me in a way that I find very comforting and joyful. But I've gotten some pushback on this. Specifically, I've had Wiccan friends, or a Wiccan friend, say that I was co-opting Wiccanism and Christianizing it, and that I was doing much the same as the Messianic Jews do, or an evangelical Christian sect that sort of puts on the appearance of Judaism to try and convert Jews to Christianity. And to be clear, I'm not trying to convert anyone to what I'm doing. I'm not some cult leader. But I've also had a Christian friend say that I was perverting Christianity for my own political purposes. So my question to you, Pam, is, do you think that religion is something that must be done as a community? You have to find other believers who believe similar things to you? Or do you think that you can build your own eclectic personal faith, kind of like what I'm doing? Yeah, I would love to hear this on the podcast someday. And thank you so much for your thoughts. Catch you next time on The Witch Wire.
Hi, Nikki. I think you need new friends. Just kidding. Am I, though? Maybe. I don't know. All of this to say that I'm not loving the feedback that you've been getting from these so-called friends in your life. But let me say that I so appreciate your message, and also just to let listeners know that we did have to edit it for time. But in the full-length message, you explain further that you're also working with two trinities now, the traditional Christian Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and also a second divine feminine trinity of your own devising, which you told me consists of the goddess Asherah, as well as Mary, and Sophia, the Gnostic spirit of wisdom. And P.S., let me just nerd out and say that there are those who even believe that the Holy Spirit of the Christian Trinity originally was Sophia or some other feminine version of the Godhead. And if you want to dig into that deeper, I recommend you read the Nag Hammadi texts. That's N-A-G, new word, Hammadi. And actually, we talk about that very thing in my episode with the comics artist Ron Ricci Jr. from 2 years ago. It's episode 128, so just check it on out. But anyway, to answer your question, I think that you probably already know what I'm going to say here. I think you already have the answers. And that is, you can do whatever you damn well please, as long as you're not harming anyone or engaging in exploitative cultural appropriation. But let's also remember that religion and spirituality are never static. Religion is fluid. It evolves. It cross-pollinates and changes over time and varies from region to region. And so our relationship to the divine can also continue to change and evolve. Now, there are people who prefer to adhere to someone else's script or scripture, as the case may be. But we are all also allowed to engage with otherworldly improv. We're allowed to say yes and to spirit and see where that takes us throughout the course of our lives. Now, it's okay that your friends access spirit differently than you do, but I'm always really suspicious of anyone who insists that their way into spirituality is the only way or the right way. And I think that literalism and fundamentalism at their mildest are pedantic and just fucking annoying. And at their most extreme can be downright dangerous. And to your Wiccan friend, I would remind them that Wicca itself is a postmodern religion that is a mashup of many traditions that came before it and is only really about 75 years old and continues to be reinterpreted and updated to this day. And I'll also say that if someone's religion is making them feel separate from others, and especially if it's making them feel superior to others, then I think they're missing the whole point. Because, spoiler alert, the point is love. The point is connection. The point is to strengthen your bond to the divine so that you can be a lovelier person here in the material world. And yes, maybe in the worlds beyond too, if you believe in such a thing. Now, I was raised Jewish. I'm a witch. I'm an oxymoronic pagan Jew, a Jew witch, whatever you want to call me. So I'm no expert on Jesus, but I hear tell that his whole deal was love. And so he sounds pretty great to me. And so to answer your question, there are many paths to love. There are many paths to magic. There are many paths to the divine. And we each get to figure out our own path. Now, as to your question about community, is it nice to have other kindred spirits on your path? Sure. Community is wonderful. And I happen to know, by the way, that there are others out there who are also blending witchcraft and Christianity and the divine feminine in a similar way to you if you feel called to find them. They are out there. But you don't have to. You can find community in other ways, joining, a running club or a knitting club or something. But if right now your spiritual path doesn't look like anyone else's and you're just kind of doing your own thing, that's totally okay. You can practice individually and intuitively and trust your own connection to the divine. But you know what? I'm realizing I've said a version of this many times now in my books and on this show, so I'm actually going to wrap this up by letting someone else speak for me. What you're about to hear is one of my favorite bits from the comedian Pete Holmes, who incidentally showed up in my dream a couple nights ago. And hey, maybe this is why, so that I would remember this bit for you here now. Anyway, here is what Pete Holmes has to say about religion, and this is from his stand-up special, I Am Not For Everyone, which you can find on YouTube.
My God is not an old man in the sky. It's a metaphor for a mystery that absolutely transcends all categories of human thought, including being and non-being, but that's too many words for the back of a quarter. That's Joseph Campbell. I got all the best teachers later in life. Like Barry Taylor, the road manager for AC/DC, said, God is the name of the blanket we put over the mystery to give it a shape. Shouldn't I have learned that in church? Why am I learning this from Barry Taylor, the road manager for AC/DC?
God is the blanket we put over the mystery to give it a shape. And Nikki, I'm going to take it just a little bit further and say, you can put whatever blanket you want over that mystery. Maybe you call it God. Maybe it's the goddess. Maybe it's the Greco-Roman pantheon. Maybe it's the story of a galaxy far, far away. So yes, you can absolutely use two gorgeous, glorious trinities as your blanket over that mystery. You can even use a cloak. Now, on to my guest. Rachel Dratch is, I'll say it again, a comedy legend who was a cast member on Saturday Night Live from 1999 to 2006, during which she developed and performed such iconic characters as Debbie Downer, The Lovers with Will Ferrell, and the Boston teen Denise Zazu McDonough. Since then, she's appeared in countless TV shows, including The King of Queens, Frasier, 30 Rock, and Broad City, and in films including Down with Love, Wine Country, and A Clusterfunk Christmas, which she co-wrote with her co-star and fellow SNL alum, Anna Gasteyer. And Rachel has starred in many Broadway shows, earning her 2 Tony nominations, the first for POTUS in 2022, and the second just this year for The Rocky Horror Show, which is up now through November, so get those tickets. Rachel is also the author of her memoir, Girl Walks Into a Bar, which we talk about at length today. And she's the host of the aforementioned podcast, Woo Woo with Rachel Dratch. And I also just want to quickly shout out that just a couple days before we recorded, Rachel was given an honorary doctorate from her alma mater, Dartmouth, and her commencement speech is so wonderful. So do be sure to check it out online. And from this point forward, you may refer to her as Dr. Dratch. I'm beyond thrilled that Rachel was able to join me in person here in the Brooklyn studio, and you can watch the video of our conversation over on my YouTube channel, which is at Phantasmophile. Rachel Dratch, welcome to the Witch Wave.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Ooh.
Witch waving. Yes.
I'm so thrilled you're here. Thank you so much for schlepping out here. It's so good to see you.
Thanks.
So listen, you and I have connected a couple times already in the context of magic.
True.
We have done magic together. This was at Studio 54 because you are starring in the Rocky Horror Show.
Yes.
Yes. And people listening already know, because Sam Pinkleton has been on the show, that we did a magical ritual together. But I'm wondering, are you feeling the magic of this show, this production still? You're now a few months into it. So how's it feeling?
I'm feeling the magic in life overall the past couple months.
Because you've been nominated for your second Tony Award.
Yes.
Congratulations.
And I just did this commencement speech. I was very, very busy for like 2 months, but it was all good stuff, like big event kind of things.
Yes.
And so I've definitely been, noticing and appreciating the magic, I guess you'd say. And then when you notice it, you notice more. Like you notice whatever, like, a fan might walk by on the street or something and be like, I love you. Like,
yes.
Which is very nice,
Yes, yes.
But I'm just noticing like, oh, you are receiving a lot of positivity, and just to like really notice just how much of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think when you notice that it's kind of about gratitude, I guess. The word gratitude is like, we've heard it so many times now that
Yeah.
it kind of washes right through you.
Yeah.
But, well, can I go off topic a teeny bit? Okay.
Yes.
So
Pisces it up.
okay. So
Rachel is like an ultra Pisces, like so many planets in Pisces. So we're
Yes.
just going to have like a cloud, an amorphous cloud of emotion
Yes.
and dreams and intuition. Go, Rachel.
So, okay, I had this therapist several years ago, and she introduced me the concept of the evidence basket. And I love this sort of concept. And basically, it's like, it's kind of about like, what is your own narrative? So if your narrative is, let's say, like, oh, I have no friends, nobody likes me, you're going to notice everything that supports that and put that in your evidence basket. If
Yes.
someone doesn't invite you to a party, if someone like doesn't hold the door for you, whatever it's going to be, that's going to go in your evidence basket. And then you have this big evidence basket that nobody likes you.
Yes. Yes.
Or if you pick like, oh, everything goes well for me, or like people are very kind, or whatever it is, then you notice all those things. You put those in that evidence basket, and then you have this basket full of a whole different narrative.
Yes.
And that's very helpful in terms of what you're noticing in your own life.
big time.
Like you could look at all the negative evidence, or you could look at the positive, even if the positive is really tiny.
Yeah.
And then I just think it kind of fills this other more positive narrative.
Yeah.
So that's very helpful. So I think lately, this past couple months, I've been definitely like having a good evidence basket.
Your
I've been
basket
noticing the
is
good evidence. Yes.
overflowing.
Yes.
Is that a practice that comes naturally to you, or do you have to really train yourself to be more positive? Like, are you like a
Well,
happy-go-lucky person?
I mean,
by
I think
nature?
I feel more happy-go-lucky now than I have in the past at times. You know, it's probably like a big wave.
Yeah.
I think that I would look at the negative evidence for certain, you know, this isn't going to work out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think I'm more versed in the whole sort of like woo-woo of it all now.
Yes.
So I try to be more conscious of positive signs, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about you getting this part as the narrator in Rocky. Were you feeling more open and receptive to such things? And that's how it came across your transom? Like, how do you make sense magically of landing this role? Because you were born to play it. You're so fucking fantastic in it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I didn't really look at this as super like woo, because this was just, I got this, you know, email out of the blue from Sam Pinkleton, who I'd met trying to work on this other project. This to me is sort of like acting world. Like sometimes in acting world, like things can be really, really slow. And then suddenly you get this phone call, like a burst from the blue. So
Yeah.
that was that kind of thing. But it's been super fun. And the cast is from all walks of theater life. You know, Sam didn't cast like your typical Broadway ensemble. Like he picked people from
It's so
downtown
eclectic.
drag scene, and yeah, very eclectic.
Yeah.
So it's a good sort of mix of like freaky fun people.
Yes. They're lovely vibes too.
Yeah.
Like really impeccable vibes.
Yeah.
At least that was my experience when I met a lot of you on that day.
Oh yeah.
And Sam's been gushing about just like, I think he's just in love with the whole company, and it feels like it's a love fest from afar. So
Yeah,
it feels like
feels like
really,
that.
really good vibes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your role as the narrator, because in addition to you having your scripted lines, you're also really having to pull on your improv roots, because Rocky Horror famously has people shouting things out from the audience. And sometimes I imagine that goes well, and sometimes I imagine maybe less so. So what has your experience been like having to, you know, play with that more spontaneous energy?
Yeah, well, so when we were rehearsing, we didn't know how much, if at all, people were going to yell things out. And then they did. And so then it was this kind of adjustment, because I think in the rehearsal room, I was just like being this character. And then when you get in front of the audience, you realize you have to bring a little bit of yourself, because you're going to get surprised by what people are yelling from time to time. And then like some things have genuinely like thrown me in a good way, like made me laugh. Or like, oh my gosh, the other day night, there was someone that, I can't even explain this. They were just like, they were just yelling like, woo, woo, and everything. And then they got the whole audience. Like when I stepped out, the whole audience started doing what this guy was doing. And I was just like, myself came out, because I was just like, what's happening here?
Yes,
you know? But that's fun. Like, of course, when you go to Rocky Horror, the movie, you're used to yelling all this stuff out.
Exactly.
But when you go to a Broadway show, you're not really used to like interaction.
Yep.
It's kind of breaks the usual Broadway vibes.
Mhm.
So I think people are just having fun with that. Like they can, if they say something, I'll look over to them. Like that's kind of fun for them to be like, I'm part of the show.
Yes, yes.
So that makes it different from the Rocky, the movie,
Exactly. Yeah. And have there been moments that have been disruptive or been, shaken anybody? No.
I don't know if like when you're sitting out there, if someone's screaming the whole time, you're like, shut the hell up. I don't know because I'm not out there.
Yeah.
But for me, no, like nothing's been too disruptive at all.
Yeah. I imagine that might keep it fresh for you because it's a grind. I mean, doing Broadway is fucking hard. It's like sports. It's athletic.
It is. I mean, and I mainly just sit in a chair. Like there's people dancing their asses off there. It's every night and all weekends. And I'm a social gal. I don't like to miss a party.
No.
But I have to for this.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's actually worse when they don't yell anything out. Because then I'm just like, then you're like, wait, why is she getting any praise for this part? If there's no one yelling anything out, then it becomes a different thing. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm so interested in your improv roots. A lot of folks who came up through the SNL system. Sorry. That's not a great word. The SNL corpus.
Umbrella.
Yes, if you will. Have improv roots. Not everyone. There's some stand-up and so on. But a lot of you guys do. And I'd love to hear about how improv is a skill that you keep honing. And I imagine it's something that is with you always and continues to evolve. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, I could talk about improv forever. But like there is magic in improv because there's the group, there's the ensemble, there's the not knowing. And in your finest moments of any sort of art or anything, like that thing when like you don't even know how you thought of this thing, it just came from like beep, beep, beep.
Yes.
Which is like, not to compare myself to Picasso, but I just think like in any sort of art, whatever, it might be sports, I don't know. But whatever, you want to be like zoning in on, there's a moment, hopefully more than one moment, where like you leave the picture and something else gives you this answer. It's not every show by any means. It's like once in a while.
Yeah.
Because you can't control it. It's kind of like coming up with a character for SNL, for me anyway. Like you can't sit at the computer and be like, I'm going to come up with something really funny. It's going to catch on. It's going to like really hit a nerve. Like you can't just sit there and will that. It has to just be like, beep, beep. And then like, the muses have waved their wand on you.
Yes.
Like for me, maybe once a year even, for something like that really takes up. There's this kind of like lack of control in creativity, for me anyway, where I don't even know how it works. It's weird to even talk about it.
Yeah.
But for improv, I started on improv because, I was in college and I had been kind of like the class clown type of person and I did the school plays and stuff. And I loved SNL and all that stuff. So that sort of combo mixture. Then there was this improv group in college. I just had this feeling like, I feel like I could do that,
Mm-hmm. And this was at Dartmouth?
Yeah. And then I got to sit in on one of the rehearsals and, that thing happened where I thought of this line. It was like, oh, how did I think of that? And it was just like this magical moment for me. And then I got to be in this group. And that's where not only just for improv, but I felt like I'd met people that I really, clicked with. It was just so fun. We didn't have any sort of guidance. We just made stuff up, literally.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, maybe I'll try to move out to Chicago for Second City, which is what I did. But yeah, as for the whole art of improv, I don't know, like when you're with other people that are just so funny and you kind of create this bond and there's sort of a trust there, like throwing the ball around.
Yeah. Do you feel like there are moments where it feels like you're tapping into some, I don't know, psychic network or something?
I mean,
yeah, like what does it
by the way,
like
I don't even improvise much at all anymore. Like I used to do it every night at Second City. And then you get this flow and you're like really confident. If you told me like you're going to be an improv show tomorrow, I would get nervous.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's part of it. The fear is part of it. But yeah, there's definitely this sort of magical thing that can happen when you're kind of in the zone. I always tell people like for improv, like 10% of it is going to be in that crazy, like we were like on fire night. And then like 80% of it is really good. And then there's like that 10% of like the bombs when you're like, everything sucks.
Dreadful.
Nothing gets rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like when you think of a line and it kind of comes out before you consciously thought of it.
Yeah.
That's when I feel like what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of what that is? Like, have you tried to define it or put a word on it? Like, I mean, some people might call it like spirit or God. I mean, you said the muses.
I don't want to say like God gave me this funny line, but it does feel like when that happens, it does feel like boop, boop.
Yeah.
And like you're not even there. It's just coming boop, boop.
Yes.
Like
you're
I
plugged
said,
into something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool. you and I talked a little bit when I was a guest on your amazing podcast, Woo Woo, with Rachel Dratch,
Yes,
co-hosted by Irene Bremis.
Yes, and Pam came on and did an episode.
Yes, it was such
We
a joy.
learned all about witchery.
Yes, such a joy. But I nerded out with you and I asked you about Del Close. And if you will indulge me, I would love to kind of continue that conversation over here. So can you tell folks who Del Close was?
So Del Close was kind of like the granddaddy of this long form improv thing, because there was that kind of short form improv games.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I hope I'm not like not crediting someone else that also did this. But as far as I know, Del came up with this form called the Herald that is just sort of like you're building this kind of play with the other cast members. And it has a format and everything, but you're creating scenes that come back and themes that come back. And then it's kind of a big group mind exercise. It's
so
hard to
cool.
explain, but Del was sort of the founder of that.
Yes.
And he was kind of like the improv guru of Chicago. when I moved there.
Exactly. And I wrote about him a little bit in Magic Maker, a little book I like to call Magic Maker. And basically what I discovered is that Del Close was a practicing witch. He was Wiccan, and he brought a lot of the rituals and things that he learned into improv and came up with some games. There's a game called The Invocation that is like about
Yes.
turning an object into a god. Did you ever do the
Yeah,
invocation?
yeah.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, you'd get a suggestion from the audience, and then the invocation. This would sometimes be used as the beginning of the heralds. Like people just kind of free associate things about this object. So then, let's say it's clock, and then like people say like grandfather, mouse ran up the clock, or whatever. Tick tock, tick. You can do anything like sounds, whatever. And then a simple object like a clock takes on all these connections, memories, stories, and then that kind of builds into what the scene is going to be.
Yes.
So it's not just a clock anymore. It's
Yes.
everything attached to a clock.
Yes. And my understanding too is that sometimes you refer to the object as it, sometimes thou, sometimes you.
Oh, yeah.
And am I like ringing some?
Oh, yes.
And
I forgot
depending
about
on
this.
how you're addressing it, it takes on like
You're-
a new energy.
It builds, and then you like, because you're right, it's like, it da-da-da, and then you're like, you blah, 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 and then you, thou art the keeper of time. Yeah, I
Yes.
forgot about this
Yes.
aspect of it.
And that
Yes.
is so drawn from witchcraft. So when I first read about it, I was like, this is so incredible how he kind of wove these
Yeah.
different aspects together, because intention and how you address something is everything when
Yeah.
it comes to ritual, because you're trying to imbue things with
Right.
energy and you're trying to build this relationship and energetic exchange with the world, essentially.
Right. And
Yeah.
actually, I forgot to say that the Herald starts with an audience suggestion of one word. And then, like, that word is going to be blown out and, like, explored and all these scenes. And it might end up as something not at all to do with that, but that's how it kicks off. It's like one word. Yeah.
That's so cool. And I know he wore a pentagram.
Oh, yeah.
And like thought of the stage as a sacred space. And this is just me dorking out to ask you, like, what was your relationship like to him? Did you have a sense that he was magical?
Well, also, P.S., I'm pretty sure he willed his skull to be used in the production of Hamlet at the
I have
Goodman
heard
Theater.
of this.
That's
I have
the
heard of
rumor
this.
anyway.
Yes.
So if you want to get witchy about that. But he was a teacher. I mean, he had this whole improv Olympic with Sharna Halper and his partner. So he was there when I first got to Chicago. So I have to say, like, I was not like, hey, Del, what's up? You want to hang out? Like, I was very scared.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, he was brusque. I'm not going to like sugarcoat this.
Was he intimidating?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'll take part ownership. Like maybe
You were
if I'd
young.
gone. But he was brusque.
Okay. Yes.
I don't know. What do I say about Del?
And
but
used a lot
I
of
was
substances,
I
famously.
was just starting out, so I don't think
Yeah.
I'm like a good narrative or whatever narrator.
Yeah.
narrator.
But you,
I don't.
You didn't have a sense of him as having like a witchy, warlocky vibe
Well, I
at the
did,
time.
But you know what else? In his classes, what I would remember is he wasn't sort of prescriptive. He wasn't like, do this, do that. Here's how you do this. Sometimes he would just like talk about improv or whatever. And it was almost like osmosis.
Yeah.
It was just like being around this person. But you know what he was all about was like truth in comedy. Like he did not want anyone to try to be funny. Like if you tried to be funny, he would humiliate you basically.
No.
Yes, but like you were just supposed to be truth. So like
Yeah.
when you get up to do a monologue, it had to be a real story. You can't get it. Like if it's clock, you have to tell a story about like, oh my gosh, one time my mom, came in, my alarm didn't go up, blah, blah, blah. It has to be something real from your past.
Yeah.
It can't be like, hey, did you ever see a clock? Blah, blah, blah. So he really imbued that in everyone.
Amazing.
And that's the basis of the whole Improv Olympic school and all that.
Yeah. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. This episode of The Witch Wave is brought to you by Blessed Be Magic Jewelry. I've been noticing something lately, especially in the conversations we have here on The Witch Wave, which is that so many of you are drawn to magic that's subtle, magic that's intentional, integrated into daily life, and deeply personal. And that's why I want to share Blessed Be Magic. They craft minimalist, elevated jewelry for modern witches. These are beautiful pieces inspired by powerful symbolism made to be worn every day. Think witchcraft and goddess charms, talismans, and sacred symbols that feel quietly powerful. Not costumey, not loud, just intentional. And I think listeners here on The Witch Wave will really appreciate that because so much of what we explore on this show is about weaving magic into the ordinary, into our creativity, and into living with purpose and presence. And Blessed Be Magic's jewelry really supports that way of living. And what also stands out to me is how the witchcraft community raves about their pieces. They have over 3,000 five-star reviews, and again, witches say that these are the pieces they never take off. Jewelry they wear to ritual, to work, and everywhere in between. You can visit blessedbemagic.com to explore jewelry made to honor your path. That's Blessed Be Magic, spelled MAGICK.com, and use code WitchWave for 15% off your first order. The Witch Wave is brought to you by BetterHelp. Happy Pride Month! If there's one thing I've learned from the LGBTQ plus community, it's that it takes an immense amount of courage to be fully oneself. And I draw so much inspiration from the queer folks in my life who honor the truth of themselves and who insist upon lives that are creative and fully accepting of oneself and one another. And a beautiful thing about the journey of self-actualization is that it is so much easier when it's done with the support of other people. Since the Stonewall Revolution of 1969, we've had 57 years of pride, and we've all been shown by queer folks how to live more vividly, more authentically, and with more communal love. Support systems are everything, and in addition to my own community, I find a lot of support in therapy. I love my friends and my family, but therapy is a place where I can fully and safely examine my own desires and anxieties and dreams and identity so that I can be more true to myself. And BetterHelp makes therapy more accessible to more people because it's entirely online, and it's the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 6 million people globally. BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. And BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and preferences, and their over 12 years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means that they typically get your match right the first time. But if you aren't happy with the match you're assigned to, don't worry. You can switch to a different therapist at any time from their tailored recommendations. Pride Month is a celebration of community, visibility, and the freedom to be yourself, and a reminder of how important support and connection can be for mental health. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/witchwave. That's better, HELP.com/witchwave. Hi, Witch Wavers. I know, and you know, you want some Witch Wave merch. And our print-on-demand merch site is now available through Dashery. So if you want to get different variations of our gorgeous Witch Wave logo designed by Thunderwing, or our Witches Are the Future catchphrase designed by Lara Antal, printed on everything from t-shirts, mugs, totes, stickers, magnets, notebooks, you name it, you can. Shirts come in different styles and fabrics and are available in sizes small through 5XL, so you can order whatever you'll feel you're most comfortable and most magical in. So head on over to witchwave.dashery.com. That's witchwave.dashery.com, or you can click the Dashery link in the Witchwave shop over at witchwavepodcast.com/shop. Welcome back to the Witchwave. So you eventually get cast on SNL. So incredible. And this was 1999?
99, yeah.
Okay. And your first show, the musical guest is David fucking Bowie. So first, let's just talk about that. Were you a fan at the time?
Yeah, I mean, well, when you get to SNL, first of all, you're just like, what? There's going to be like a new celebrity in here? Because you're coming from theater in Chicago, or wherever you're coming from. You're not used to seeing celebrities in musical, whatever, rock stars, all this stuff.
Right.
So you're just like, what? You're like Cinderella at the ball.
Yes.
So, but yeah, to have David Bowie, icon. And then, so I've told this story before, but the very first week there, I was getting my photo taken for the opening credits, which already you're like, oh my God, like you're like, pinch me moment.
Yes.
It was right in the studio. And David Bowie's rehearsing on the stage where the musical guests play. And so while I'm getting my picture taken, he's playing Rebel Rebel, like right there. And it was just,
I have the chills.
I know. It was like, how is this moment happening? Because you're just being swept into this whole like dream job.
Yes.
And then, you know, David Bowie's playing.
That's
right
so
there.
Incredible. And of course, we've totally glossed over who was the actual host.
The host? Well, so here's the
David Bowie eclipses all.
Here's the part. Like, I actually did not get on the show. Like, so, you know, your scene can get cut and stuff.
Yes, of course.
So the first two shows, my scenes got cut. So I wasn't even on the show.
Yes.
But I think it was Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh,
sure. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
So you start on SNL in 99 and you come up with some iconic characters. And I've heard that Debbie Downer actually is one of these characters that sort of came to you from the ether. Can you talk about that?
At first, I sort of tempered the story because I didn't want to be the vulnerable person. But now I've told it, I think. But so,
you're on the witch
my
wave.
My second mention of a therapist. Now, this was a different therapist because this was before.
I've been in therapy since I was 14. This is a safe space, Rachel.
But I'm just like, my therapist, and then my therapist, but this is a different one. And she kept telling me to go on a trip by myself, like almost like a prescription.
And roughly how old were you at this point?
I was 31.
Okay.
No, I was like 39 or something.
Okay.
She kept telling me to go on a trip by myself.
So you're on SNL.
I'm getting
already.
the numbers wrong. Anyway,
it doesn't matter.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Numbers, schmumbers. Who cares?
Who somewhere in my 30s. Okay, so she kept telling me to trip myself, and I was like, why would I do that? Like, I have friends to travel with. Why would I go? But then I just looked at it like, okay, doctor's orders. Like, I'm just going to go do this.
Yes.
So I booked a trip, which, by the way, is kind of amazing because she told me to go do this, and then out comes my most famous character. Like, that's the crazy.
On the trip.
Yes.
So you're on the trip. Where
she tells
you
me
go?
to go. So I pick the jungles of Costa Rica.
Amazing.
The rainforest of Costa Rica. Because I wanted to be somewhere like it's okay to be there by yourself.
Yes.
So I go to this eco lodge thing there. And it took forever to go, like 2 flights and then like a 2-hour Jeep ride.
Yes.
So anyway, I was like going in it.
Yes.
And I was at this eco lodge. I'm telling this story. And it was really cool. It was a really cool trip. But aside from that, we're sitting at these kind of communal tables, sort of just to eat your meals. You know, it's mostly Americans there, and you're just chit-chatting. And someone dropped like a big downer into the conversation because it was just like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, oh, New York. And then like, were you there for 9/11? And it was like 3 years after 9/11. It had like no bearing on anything. And like we're all there like kind of on vacation and this person
just trying to bond.
was like, were you there for 9/11? And it was like, and then I was like, yeah. And then like, I kind of tried to like steer the conversation back to like fun times. And then like that moment just kind of stuck with me.
Yes.
And then about a week later, I went to go see this band, which is also something I never do. So it's like getting out of your routine.
Yes.
That's when you're going to get crazy ideas.
Yes, it's so true.
But I went to hear this band, and while I was standing there hearing this band, this character popped into my head of Debbie Downer based on that thing from before.
That's so
And then
amazing.
I brought it into Paula Pell, one of the writers.
Yes, big fan of Paula Pell.
We were trying to write this thing. First, we said it in an office, and it just kind of wasn't flowing. And they were like, wait, we should put this somewhere where everyone's supposed to be having a good time. So we put it at Disney World.
Perfect.
And then the rest is history. No, but that's how, yeah. And then even when we're writing it, like we were going like, wah, wah, just on ourselves, like laughing. And then we're like, what if we put the trombone in the scene?
Yes.
So that's how that all came about.
But
it all came about from like getting out of your routine.
Yeah.
And like way out of my routine.
Yes.
And I certainly didn't go there thinking like, I hope something amazing comes out. Like I was just like, all right, I'll go on this trip by myself. Like, what am I doing? Like the night before, I was like, what the hell am I doing?
Yes.
I don't want to go by myself.
Yes.
Yeah,
of course. I mean, it's really scary, especially if it's something you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I'm one of these people too. I'll be really excited about something and then like I'll kind of dread it and then I'm excited again. But it sounds like, you pushed through the dread.
Yeah.
You stuck with the plan. Yes.
Another thing, and I've told this before too, but another thing that happened on this trip is I met these two sisters who like basically while we were sitting around, they basically told me like the rudimentary version of The Secret. Like they were into like, I don't know if it was Abraham Hicks, I don't know. But they shared with me the idea like lack attracts lack. That's what I remember they said. Like if you I just had a little chill. They were like, if you think on lack, you'll receive lack.
Yes.
If you think on whatever, abundance.
Prosperity.
Yeah. And so that was my first sort of intro to that. It was like, burr, burr. And then I'm really going off the rails here.
I love it. Go.
I'm going off the rails. Well, let's do a part two. No, okay, so then we were all walking on the beach on this little like group walk. And then there were these like scarlet macaws, these beautiful birds flying way up above. And one of those women said like, oh, I really want a feather to bring home to my daughter. Okay. I swear, like 30 seconds later, we're all standing there. We see from out of the sky, bloop, 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 this feather from way up high lofts down and lands right in front of her feet. And we were all like, ugh. So then I was like, sold.
Yeah.
I'm sold on magic. Like, yeah, because I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
And just after she had told me about this.
Yes.
And then she's like, I want a feather. And then from on high, literally.
Amazing.
So that's when, I don't know.
This trip sounds
woo-woo really kicked in.
So transformative.
Yeah.
And so once you came back, you create Debbie Downer. Obviously, that's one of many of your amazing characters. But did you feel yourself then being more consciously receptive to magical things, or were you still kind of like in the broom closet, as we say in the witch world?
Broom closet.
Yeah.
Because in SNL, like you might have a character do well, but then you still have to like try to come up with something the next week. So you're not like, I did it. And then like, because you have successful characters like once in a while.
Yeah.
The rest of the time you're like, I got to think of something. So I wasn't like set for life, at all.
Of course.
But, I wasn't really thinking magic then.
Did you have a sense of what you wanted to do after SNL when you were on the show?
Well, I think you think back then, because then that was still the time when they were making movies off of characters.
Yes.
I think the thought is like SNL and then like the next thing, but then that didn't really happen for me.
Yeah,
like,
there was no, was there a plan for like a Debbie Downer film at any point?
Oh, no.
Okay.
But I just meant like.
Or the Lovers?
No.
I would die for a Lovers film. I would die.
No, like then things kind of slowed down a little and then they picked back up again. But acting is so like, you might think like, I've made it. And then like, you're still like, oh, I didn't get this part. Whatever. Stuff still happens. It's still up and down.
So that gets us to your wonderful book. I just finished listening to it. So I've had your voice in my head. It's the best. I loved it so much, Rachel. This is your book. Girl Walks Into a Bar. I just want to make sure I get the subtitle correct. Comedy, Calamities, Dating Disasters, and a Midlife Miracle. And what I love about this book, there's a lot. It's so funny. It's very tender. It's beautifully written. But you really are very vulnerable and honest about like some of your ups and downs post SNL, Because to your point, I think a lot of people think like once you're on SNL, every possible door opens for you. And that's not always the case, I would imagine, for most cast members. Like I would imagine most people leave the show and they have to be like, what the fuck is next, right?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's funny because this book is now, whatever. How old?
It came out in 2012 or 2013.
Yeah, 2012. So
it's over.
But now
it's
like
15 years
this for
old
me.
or
It's
something.
kind of a time capsule.
Yeah.
Like I wish in writing it that I had been able to see. Well, whatever. It starts out like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do?
Yes.
And then I have surprise baby, and then like I have this whole plot twist. In terms of the career, like I couldn't see ahead that it was going to pick up again.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a little slumpy for like 5 years or
Yeah.
so. But then it picked way up again. So, I mean, that's my lesson for myself. But when I'm writing the book, I don't know that.
Yeah,
I don't know that it's going to pick up again.
Of
So,
course.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about the woo-woo aspects of the book because during the course of you looking for work and having ups and downs, you go to she's a channeler.
A channeler.
And I know
Yeah.
you've told this story before, but it's so good,
Okay.
Rachel. So please
just telling
please
this-
tell the
I
Witch
just
Wave
told
audience.
this last night at some cocktail party I was at because I was talking about whatever. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Okay, so here's my story. You've probably heard it before, maybe. I don't know. But on my 43rd birthday, a friend of mine took me to see this channeler. We were in LA doing this show, and I went to see this channeler. And again, I wasn't woo-woo like, oh, going to a channeler today. I was just like, okay. Like it was that.
Yeah.
It was, imagine if you've never seen anyone like this. That was me,
You had never been to anybody like that. You've been
I'd
to
gone
therapists,
like,
but not
clearly I've been
not
to therapist.
psychics.
No, but I've been to like a couple psychics. But I wasn't a person like, let me call my psychic at all. I don't
Yes.
have a psychic. She took me to this person, and then this person, she channels this spirit, and she like became this other person who's talking
So
to
this
you like
is the full like Whoopi Goldberg experience in
yes.
Ghost, where she's
She
like
greets
taking
you-
on the different voices.
Right. She greets you, in a regular voice, and then she's like, oh, hello. I'm so glad you came to see me today. Like that. You're like,
whoa.
and I was almost giggling,
Of course.
But anyway, she told me a bunch of things. And right away, I kind of bought it because she was saying things like thoughts I've had or feelings, not like things you could Google,
Okay.
Anyway, then at the very end, I asked her if I was going to meet anybody. I was single and 43. And she's like, you're going to meet someone in 3 months. And she's like, no, wait, 3 to 6 months. And you're going to have one child. I just got chills again. But I was thinking like, okay, like I wasn't like, oh, I was like, maybe she just says this to like ladies that come in here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought like, oh, maybe that means like I'm going to adopt. I don't know.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Did
wasn't
you
with
want
it.
to be a mom at that
So
point?
I'd always thought I'd be a mom. I always
Yeah.
thought I'd have kids. But then I wasn't going to do it on my own,
Mhm.
which like I say this in my book, like in hindsight, I would tell myself to consider that more than I
Sure.
did.
Okay.
I just wasn't going to do that route for myself. But as the years were going by, I was like, okay, I was trying to like adjust to that I wasn't going to have kids. So she said that. I didn't really take it much to heart. Oh, I also said, am I going to have to do anything to meet this person? And she said, no, don't do anything.
The dream.
Yeah,
I
so-
love not
'Cause I was
having
like,
to
do I
do
have to go
things.
online, whatever. And then 4 months later, walked into a bar around the corner from my house and met this guy, John.
Yes.
And then, like, long story short, we start dating long distance. Long story shorter, I'm pregnant.
Yep.
Surprise of a lifetime. I'm almost 44.
Yeah.
Then that was like a whole giant plot twist for life and the book.
Yeah.
Because when I started writing the book, the first half of the book kind of sat in a pile, and then I wasn't going to do anything with it. And then when this happened, I was like, oh, like now there's a story. That was a
That's so
side effect. So a
interesting.
lot of those
Okay.
stories at the beginning, I don't know what the end of the book is when I'm writing those stories. Yeah.
That's so cool. It almost feels like you're co-writing your own life with
Yeah.
spirit
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
That's really fucking
Yeah.
cool. Okay. And without divulging like too much, because I want people to read the book, it's so good. But I will say that you and John had a little bit of a psychic connection too. You have some dreams that are similar. Do you remember
Yeah,
this?
I
know I'm
think
like,
I
I'm
do.
reminding you.
I think I
you
do.
had this whole narrative about pigs
Yeah, with
and
the pigs.
synchronicities with
so
pigs.
this was crazy. Like we kept seeing pigs everywhere, like pig symbols.
Yeah.
There was a big pig mural. I just got chills again. What's my problem? There was a big mural of a pig across the street from the bar
Yeah.
where we met.
Yeah.
And then we kept noticing more and more pigs. Like we went to the bourgeois pig, and then we would see them everywhere. And then finally I was like, what's up with all these pigs? And then I looked up what's the symbolism of a pig? And it said fertility. And like, we hadn't been dating that long. And I was like, and also, by the way, I was like 43. I'm like, okay, well, So we kept seeing fertility signs without knowing that they were fertility signs. But yeah.
So incredible.
Yeah.
So I want to pivot us to your podcast,
Okay.
Woo Woo. It's so excellent. How do you describe the show to people?
Well, it's about any woo-woo topic you could imagine. So we talk about psychic things, ghosts, what's on the other side, and astral projection, or even if someone goes to like a Reiki master and also I talk to a lot of comedians. So sometimes I'll just have a comedian friend that I know on and like, what's their woo-woo take? And maybe they have like a kooky story, whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like a real like mind-blowing story from just someone that I know or someone that I've heard about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what made you decide to start this show?
Well, I think I always love, at the end of the night when you're sitting around with friends and people start telling their weird psychic or ghost story, like those mind-blowing, like, oh, maybe we don't know everything kind of stories.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was after the writer's strike or whatever, but things were like a little slow and I was like, oh, what about doing, because I wasn't like, I want to do a podcast too. It was just like, this would be fun to talk about, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then we pitched it around and Q Code picked it up and yeah, that's how it all started. So at first I had this kind of stockpile of crazy stories I'd heard over the years. And then everyone said they would come on and do them. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
But now I'm like always on the lookout for woo-woo stories.
Yes.
So I run out of my friends and my,
Yeah.
So now I'm just like on the search all
on
the
the
time.
hunt.
Yes,
On the hunt.
for ghosts and such. Yeah.
Yes. And you do it with Irene.
With Irene Bremis, who
Yes.
she's a stand-up comedian and a friend of mine from high school. And yeah, I was thinking, because I can be kind of shy. And so I was like, well, I could handle this if it was someone that I know. But like, what about when I have people I don't know on?
Yeah.
I want that like security blanket of a friend there who I know is fun, funny, and into this stuff too.
And such a sweetheart.
yeah,
It calls
so-
everybody sweetie.
Calls everyone sweetie.
Yes.
So we have fun, like, batting around these topics together.
It's such a good show, though, Rachel. And I remember when I first started listening to it, I was like, wait a second, Rachel Dratch, one of my favorite people, talking about one of my favorite topics. Like, I was already like ready to love it. But sometimes, with all due respect, celebrities try podcasting and they're not that good at it, or it's not that compelling. And you're really a great interviewer. So is
thanks.
Irene. And I think your improv skills and Irene's comedy skills like really serve the content well, because I'm one of these people. I know I'm a witch. I obviously do the witch wave, but I like some grounding. I like some humor. I like what I call reverent irreverence. Like, let's not take this too seriously. And you bring like a real combination of those energies to it. It's such a wonderful show.
Thank you. I mean, sometimes, yeah, we have like a lot of cackling laughter. Like there's a couple episodes, like the ones I think we laugh the most. There's the Kevin Cahoon one, which is the first one. And then we interviewed Jeff Hiller. And that
I
one's
love
really
him
fun.
so
'cause
much.
He's just so fun and funny. And then there's one with my friend Craig Chester about astral projection. Craig came on 2 times. But the astral projection one, the first one, we just have a lot of fun laughing. And his story is crazy. That's the thing. Like, he also has a crazy story about astral projection. So sometimes we laugh a lot, but sometimes it's about heavy duty, like people that have lost a parent or whatever. It could be like some serious topics too. So they're not all like barrel of laughs.
Yes.
But sometimes they drift more towards like serious woo-woo, what's on the other side, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you were quoted in the Times. They just did a beautiful article on you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But you were quoted saying that when you started woo-woo, you were like 65% woo-woo, and now you're 95% woo-woo. So how woo-woo
Yes.
are you today, Rachel?
I'm like 99%. I'm serious. It keeps going up.
oh my goodness.
I mean, I'm getting signs on my phone from my dad. Like,
Yes.
that's where I am now.
Wow.
Yes, I know this is like the ultimate. Every time at the beginning we'd be like, we're not really crazy. Like, we're not really woo-woo. We're like
Yeah.
women of science, da, da, da. Like, we wanted to make clear,
We're
like,
serious.
because I didn't want to be like, she's the crazy actress who believed, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But now I'm like, okay, well, the more stories that I hear, the more I believe all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the more open you are, also, the more you'll believe it. Like, I think it's detrimental to be closed off to the magic, because it doesn't serve you. Like, if you're open to it, you might be surprised
Yes.
at where it will take you.
100%.
On that note, we're going to take another quick break and we'll be right back.
This episode of The Witch Wave is brought to you by Mithras Candle. As the wheel of the year turns to its brightest point, the summer solstice, my mythic friends at Mithras Candle in Philadelphia are marking the turn with a fiery summer sale of 30% off. Their golden yellow beeswax blocks are stacked high, just waiting to be transformed into gorgeous candle shapes, each one holding hundreds of hours of stored candlelight, infused with pollen from native wildflowers, goldenrod, clover, and orange blossom. It's delicious solar energy captured for your altar. Craving something with a little more shadow? Stock up on their velvety black candles for protection and deep work. And because summer is a time for our plant friends to thrive, green candles are joining the sale too. So right now, take 30% off, plus get a free pair of their signature golden beeswax votives with every order, auto-applied at checkout. But order quick, because the Mithras Candle Summer Sale only runs through June 28th, 2026, so don't let this light burn out. Visit mithrascandle.com, that's M as in magic, ITHRAS candle.com. Light the flame. Hey there. So people are always asking me how they can get more witch wave, how they can work with me, how they can find magical community. And my answer is join the Witch Wave Patreon. There is where you'll get bi-weekly bonus Witch Wave Plus episodes, as well as ad-free Witch Wave episodes and detailed show notes for all. The Witch Wave Patreon is also where I lead a monthly online magical ritual, which you can attend live or watch the recording of at your convenience. And that's available for members at all tiers. And then rewards for some other tiers also include magical merch and contests where you can win Witchly prizes, as well as getting early heads up about my workshops before they sell out, and opportunities to get magical one-on-one guidance from me. And all backers get access to our exclusive digital coven, where you can connect to a community of other wonderful Witchwave witches around the world. So head on over to patreon.com/witchwave and sign up. It's a marvelous way to get more magic in your life and to support the show. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the Witch Wave. You just mentioned something in passing, and I want to make sure I caught it. You said you're getting signs from your dad on your phone. What does that mean exactly? Is your dad still with us?
No, he's not. He's not still
That's
with us.
what I intuited, or inferred. But can you tease that out a little bit? What do you mean?
Well, I've
signs from him.
had 3 experiences. I've talked about one on the pod, and then I just had 2 more that are really crazy.
Can you share any of them?
Yeah, I'll share. Well, the first one, it might be best to go listen to the thing, because then I really draw it up. But it's called Rachel Gets a Message. But basically, so Casey Wilson came on the show, comedian, and she told us about getting a sign from her mom, and that was my final frontier. Signs, I'm so you saw a cardinal on your windowsill. Okay, was that really your mom? That I didn't know about, but I'm not poo-pooing it. But I was a little bit I don't know if I believe that.
Understood.
But then Casey said, okay, if you really want a sign, you have to ask for it, which I've never done. And even in this instance, I didn't ask. I just had a brief fleeting thought that I wonder whatever happened to the text chain I had with my dad, because it's gone from my phone. So I had that thought. And then a couple days later, I got these 2 text messages at the same time. Mom and dad are still on my phone as mom and dad. The same contact. I got 2 simultaneous texts from mom and dad. And one of them was from my mom. And the other one,
who is still with us. I met her briefly.
The other one was the text chain from my dad. It left off where he died.
Whoa.
It was dated October 2017. It was the last, and it popped. I mean,
now I have the
chills.
Seriously.
It popped up on my phone.
Oh, my.
And it was the whole, and then it gets weirder. It gets weirder. So then I could go back and see like all these like photos and memories and like right where it left off. And I had asked for this a couple days earlier.
Yes.
And then here's the crazy thing. I call my friend that night to tell her about this. She's lost her parents. And I go to look at it. And now there's more things on the text chain after where I'd seen before. There's photos. There's a whole string of texts. This is the part like you kind of have to see, or it sounds like what? But there's a whole string of texts from other times. And they all are saying kind of the same thing. They're like, can't talk right now. I'm on the other line. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Can't talk at the moment. I'm on the other line. Mic drop. Mic drop. They all were in a row from different dates. Like it had been almost like little messages grabbed from different dates all in a row. And I'm on the phone with my friend. I'm like, ugh.
This is so wild. Like I seriously have deep chills.
I
Chills
know.
on chills on chills.
And that for me was like, there's no way for me to explain this.
Yeah.
Even the photos that came up, it wasn't like a photo of like the Uber for my son. It was like we had a bar mitzvah for my son. And I was like, oh, he would have really loved this.
Yeah.
There was a screenshot of the location and another picture. My mom had sent me like what dress she was going to wear to it. That picture was on there. It wasn't like a picture of my friend at a bar.
Yeah.
It was like significant.
Yeah. I mean, I would call that evidence, but
and then there's two more things too. Yeah, but I'm saving those because I have to still tell them on my pod.
Okay.
But I got two more.
Incredible. Okay. So
I know. Sorry, I've really gone off topic with my crazy stories of science from beyond.
This is on topic. You could not be more on topic.
But I know you have a...
No. This is great. I don't care about this.
Okay.
Listen, I just want to say, Rachel, that I was given incredible advice by a mentor friend of mine who's very magical. She's in her 70s, Susan Aberth, for listeners who know. She's like one of the world's experts on surrealism and the occult and just a badass. But she's also quite magical. And she said to me once, Pam, if you don't ask, they can't help.
Ooh.
I know. And ever since then, this was many years ago, I've been more into asking. And I'm one of these people, I'm very into manifesting and conjuring, obviously. But I just had never really been like, hey, grandma, or like, hey, Artemis, goddess of the moon, like, can you please? Like, I just didn't do that explicitly. And ever since I have, it feels like things just flow so much more. So my question for you is, have you asked your dad for any help?
Okay, this is crazy.
We're holding hands.
We're holding hands. Let's come to this. I didn't ask for help, but this is the crazy. So then I got another weird phone thing like 2 months ago. And then this is really crazy. The other day, on Sunday, I asked for a message from my dad because I had this big event. And I was like sad he wouldn't be there, you know.
Was this the Dartmouth commencement?
Yeah,
the speech you gave.
Yeah. And I asked for a message on my phone. I said, will you send me another message on my phone? And 5 hours later, I got another text from years gone by. It wasn't from him. It just was this text from someone else like 2 years ago. Like it doesn't say like today.
Yeah.
It says April 2024, whatever.
Yes.
And it had a significant photo and such.
And it felt like it was from him.
It felt like it because it was another big event that I wished he had been at.
Really?
Yes.
Do you feel like it was him saying, I was there and I'm here?
Yes, that's what I felt like. That's what I felt like. But that was my first time asking, and then I got almost instant results.
Okay, so magical homework for you to consider.
Magical homework.
Magical homework for you, Rachel Dratch, is if there's something that you want help with, you could consider asking your dad. So let's say there's like, I don't know, a part that you want in a film or, you know, something for your son or whatever. Try asking your dad for help and see what happens and let me know.
All right.
Just as a little experiment.
All right.
Because I found it to be super fruitful. Yeah. So let me know. Let me know. We'll have to do a follow-up.
Yes.
So,
Maybe I'll ask Artemis too.
ooh,
Once I find out
that's
who
my
that is.
girl. Oh, she's the goddess. She's a Greek goddess of the moon, the wild, the hunt,
Ooh.
freedom, independence.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, she's my girl.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll tell you
She's
all
my
about her later.
girl.
Yeah, we'll take that offline.
Okay.
But I want to know, what is your relationship to magic these days in terms of navigating your career or your family life? Like, I guess, let's start with your son. Like, are you raising him with a sense of being open to this stuff, or is he just like, this is nuts?
Not real. I don't talk about this stuff a lot with him.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked a little bit about kind of like the evidence basket thing.
Yes.
I didn't use those words, but just watching your narrative kind of thing.
Yes.
I don't put it in those terms, like watch your narrative. But I
Yes.
just mean in terms of what you're sending out or what your own story is
Mm-hmm.
and then how that will affect you,
Yeah.
So that's probably the extent.
And you said
Where
he
I've
had a bar mitzvah. So
Yes.
you're raising him with some sense of
Well,
religion-ish.
It was bar mitzvah
Short-lived.
light. It was bar mitzvah light.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really steeping him in religion, I'll
Yeah.
say. But yeah, I guess I don't really have a good answer for this.
No,
about, how
no.
I'm
It's
raising
great.
him.
How were
with
you
woo-woo.
raised with religion,
I was-
spirituality, magic,
I wasn't
all of
raised
it?
with a lot of I mean, I don't know anyone that I grew up with that was raised with spirituality and magic.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's ancient, but I mean,
Yeah.
to
Did
me,
you go
it
to
doesn't-
temple as a kid or have a
Yeah.
bat mitzvah?
yeah.
Okay, so you were
But I
Reformed
mean,
Jewish.
but I don't know. I don't feel as connected to that version of God
yeah.
as I do to things whatever you want to call the universe, which is a
Mhm.
word I always kind of make fun
I
of. But
know.
I guess I think of, the positive field of consciousness. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
I haven't even worked this out. I guess I call it woo-woo.
David Lynch called it the unified field, and that's also a Buddhist term. So
Okay,
some
yeah.
people like that. I mean, I don't think it really matters what we call
Right.
it, to be honest.
But
I
a
call it
positive-
capital S spirit or creative force.
Yeah.
I also like using the names of gods and goddesses and certain, we can do
Yeah.
whatever we want, Rachel. Yeah.
But I was not raised with any sort of
okay.
awareness.
But
of-
you have
except
become
witchy books when you're little. When you're in 6th grade and you read The Girl Who Became a Witch. That was probably the extent of it.
Did you like that stuff?
Yeah. I was into that, the idea of potions and magic. But I wasn't
You did.
But
So
I-
you had a little witchy
but I wasn't
side.
making potions. I would just read those little, 6th grade girl novel kind of thing.
Right. But I
Yeah.
do think that the things we read that stir something in us, it's telling. The fact that you resonated with that even as a young person means there's some seed
Yeah.
of that in you.
Oh, and I think I was really into the show In Search Of. I don't know.
Was
if I'm
that
too
Leonard
old-
Nimoy?
Yes.
Yes.
And they would explore mysteries like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and stuff like that. ESP, that kind of thing. So I was really into that show, which is kind of like a woo-woo primer,
Yeah. That's so interesting you bring him up. I was actually in Boston this weekend and I was at the Museum of Fine Arts and they had an old ark. So that's where the Torah is kept from a temple, but it's in the museum and it has everyone thinks this is live long and prosper. I'm holding my hands up for listeners, the Star Trek symbol, but it actually is the priestly blessing. It's a Jewish sign that because Leonard Nimoy was raised Jewish, he brought this sign to Star Trek. And so, I don't know, for some reason you mentioning Leonard Nimoy right now and Judaism and magic and Star Trek, and I was just in Boston, I just feel like I'm supposed to talk about him. Were you a fan of his as a kid?
I wasn't
it was just
Star
this
Trek.
show.
It was just In Search Of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the premise of the show? Because I've never
Premise is
seen
just,
it.
Okay, it was just unexplained mysteries.
Okay.
So they do a whole show about aliens or Bigfoot or Loch Ness.
Yeah.
There was one on spontaneous combustion. I remember. It was just
Amazing.
all the things that you'd be like, what?
Yeah.
And those are the ones I remember. Amelia Earhart. Those are the ones I remember.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to, that kind of thing.
So you've had this interest in you.
I guess so,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of latent. And
Yeah,
it feels
yeah.
like it's really waking up. We are running a little bit out of time, but I want to make sure we talk about the fact that you're a master manifester. Because I don't know if you remember exactly, spoiler alert, the epilogue of your book. Can I read it to you?
Sure.
You say, at the end of your book, I'd love to do a comedy on Broadway at some point and more TV. I'd love to do a funny part in a film, maybe in a kind of indie film that goes to Sundance and then gets released into the wider world. Did I just put that out there into the universe? And then cut to, you get cast in the Broadway show POTUS. You get your first Tony nomination for that. Have you manifested some of those other things in that epilogue?
I don't think I got the Sundance thing.
Yet.
Thank you, yet. But
and more TV, obviously.
More TV,
you went on to do lots more TV
Yeah.
after that.
the Broadway comedy is probably, something I manifested.
It's huge, though. Yes. Are there other things that you would like to speak into existence
I
right now?
probably try to be more focused on manifesting, but I think especially showbiz where you don't have a lot of control sometimes, you don't feel like you do.
Yeah.
I like to imagine I'm floating down the stream and then, things float by me and like, oh, that's cool. Like I just kind of like zen out and float down the stream.
Yeah.
And that's kind of served me well for my own mental health in terms of not being like, I want this, I want that. Like, I just like seeing like, oh, that's cool. Like, oh, that's cool. So that's kind of how I operate. When someone says, who would you love to work with that you've never worked with? I don't have anyone that lists. I don't really think like that. Like, what do I want next? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think like that.
See, I actually love this, Rachel, because something that I am trying to tease out in my own witchcraft practice and my own life as I'm navigating it is how much I'm trying to conjure versus how much I'm just trying to like accept and let things flow towards me and receive. Because some of the most amazing things that have happened to me in my life, I wouldn't have even thought to ask for. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know to be like, I want to go to Studio 54 and cast a spell with Sam Pinkleton and Rachel Dratch. Like, that wouldn't have been on my list. It's so specific. And it's one of the most like delightful surprises. So are you finding that too, that sometimes it's more about like being open to surprise and spontaneity and improving with the universe?
Improv with the universe. Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. But then, that's coming from someone who like, I've achieved a lot of the things I would have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is me like, now I'm more established, so I don't have to really worry about like, oh, am I going to get something?
Yeah.
But I think, if you're like in your 20s, 30s, whatever, it would make more sense to be like wanting that next step.
Yes.
That's like career. It could be any topic, I guess. But I don't know. I'm sort of like enjoying just appreciating what's around. Sort of. But it is a good reminder because when you talk about like The Secret and all that, it always says ask big, like ask bigger than you even imagine. Like ask for a level of something that sounds like ridiculous. And I'm not doing that. So maybe I need to go more outer world, like ridiculous with, I don't know.
Maybe you need to ask your dad.
I don't know. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. And then last question for you. You are famously like an ultra Pisces, ultra. Friend of the pod, Eliza Kelly, astrologer, is somebody that you have worked with and she's been on your show.
Yes.
And she like just talks about how you're the most Pisces person she's probably ever met. Do you remember you have like most
like
of your
everything.
planets are in Pisces, right?
Yeah, I think it's called, I didn't know this term, but it's called a stellium.
Yes.
Where every single thing is in the same sign.
I think stellium is when you have three or more planets in the same.
Okay, so I have like.
But you have like.
I have everything except, someone on TikTok did it and said I have everything in Pisces except one thing. And she was really funny because this popped up on my feed somehow. Everything's in Pisces except one little thing that's in like Capricorn or something. And she was laughing. She's like, this Capricorn is holding everything together because I am sort of like, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm chaotic, but I have some chaotic sort of like, oh no, where did I put my keys?
Can I
like
tell
that,
one
that
quickie
person.
story about you that gave me a glimpse into your Pisces self? And I hope this is okay to say. Okay. No.
The headphones, but just like the headphones on the Amy Poehler podcast, that's like an example of.
Everyone has to watch the clip of Rachel on Amy Poehler's podcast because you have
Pisces power.
Yes, you have a headphone snafu.
I have a lot of mishaps happen all in a row, and like that is
It's
to me
so
like
fucking
that's the
funny.
Pisces stellium thing.
Okay,
Go ahead.
My experience of your Pisces stellium, and I hope this is okay to say.
What I do.
Your emails to me
Yeah.
never have a subject line.
Oh my
They're
gosh,
always,
wait.
no subject,
No,
no
wait.
subject, no subject. every Rachel Dratch email. And I'm like, how does Rachel function without subject lines? Like, how do you organize your life? It's just a cloud of missives from Rachel Dratch, and it delights me so much.
Okay, you know what's so funny? I wouldn't even think that I'm supposed to put a subject line. Like, so this is news to me that I'm supposed to put a subject line.
Has no one told you do this?
What was it? Did you tell me this before?
I did.
Okay.
Was I
I think you're the only person. So what's your sign? Are you like a Virgo or something?
No.
You need the subject line?
No. Well, no, I'm an Aquarius sun. Okay. I'm a Gemini rising.
Okay.
I'm a Cancer moon.
I don't know enough
so none of this is like, I like a little bit of structure, but I can be like loosey-goosey. It's more just something that I've never had that experience with anyone else, Rachel. It's very unique.
Okay, I'm going to start doing subject lines.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Is this news to you that a subject line is a space in which you can put information?
But it never dawned on me of like, why would I do that? So now I'll do the subject line.
This is so Pisces.
Every email we have.
This is my point.
It's going to be very specific.
No, don't change. Rachel, you've been very high functioning for a very long time. I don't think you have to change a damn thing. I just delight in it so much.
Seriously, this is news to me that you would think to put a subject line. Unless it's like, well, I guess maybe because it's a little bit of business. But if it was like,
but for your own organization.
I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I never put a subject line. From now on, I'm going to do it.
No, don't change a thing. You're doing beautifully. But, when you go into your like sent emails, how do you know what your conversations have been with other people?
That's a great question. I just leaf through. It takes probably time.
This might just make your life a little easier.
I need an executive functioning coach. Yes.
You're perfect.
I do.
Don't change a thing. Don't change a thing. Anyway, Rachel, this has been such a delight.
I told so many woo-woo stories.
I'm a huge fan of yours. Like, this is a true honor. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Witchy Wave. Witch Wave.
Yay, Rachel Dratch. That's it for the show, and that's it for season 9 of The Witch Wave. Thank you again to Rachel Dratch for sharing her cosmic comedy with me, and I'll see you here for season 10 in September. Do you have questions, feedback, need some witchly advice, or just want to share something magical that happened to you recently? Drop us an email or a voice memo over at witchwavepodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, and you just might make it on the Witch Wire. Please check out the video of my conversation with today's guest and prior guests over at my YouTube channel @Phantasmophile, and please like and subscribe. The Witch Wave is a Phantasmophile production, written and produced by me, Pam Grossman. We are 100% independently run and proud of it. This episode was recorded and edited by Josh Wilcox and/or Walter Nordquist and myself. Our theme music is the song Hand and I by Lycanthia. Our new Witch Wave logo was designed by Thunderwing. Special thanks go to Matt Freeman, Laura Antal, and Cece Pascal. Please pick up my books Magic Maker and Waking the Witch, or the Witchcraft volume I co-edited for Tashin's Library of Esoterica series. And if you want more Witch Wave, or you would just like to support the show, please join us over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/witchwave. Thank you so much for listening. Witches are the future. I'll catch you next time on The Witch Wave.